What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FA Podcast. Happy Football Friday on a Thursday. We are officially in about half an hour, 1 week away from the 2025 NFL Draft. Yeah, my favorite time of the year. I don't know about you, but love it. All right, a lot of news, kind of surprisingly, but not surprisingly at the same time. Start off, nothing breaking, right? Out of any of this stuff, really, you think? That we need to talk about first?
Nah, we could just stick to the script.
All right. College football news. Congrats. Lee Corso, the GOAT, finally hanging it up after 38 years on College Game Day. Gonna appear one more time as last headgear selection on August 30th. So make sure you tune in. I was happy that I was able to attend a couple of College Game Days at Georgia. So that was pretty cool to see Corso in person. College football is also going to have a new rule this year. It is an injury rule. So a lot of stuff being made about faking injuries to slow down offenses, right? So the NCAA Football Rules Committee came up with a new rule that if medical personnel enter the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, that player's team is going to be charged a timeout. And if they don't have a timeout, that's a 5-yard penalty for delay of game. So I kind of like it, but at the same time, it's like, are officials going to do it? Because I feel like it's tough sometimes to know, like, I don't know. In my head, it feels like it's going to be difficult to officiate.
Yeah, and I feel like there's going to be pretty simple workarounds. I think the big one will be teaching guys to just go down before the ball is placed.
That's pretty hard.
It is, but
It's pretty fast.
yeah, it could be fast. But I think if you have a really smart player, he can do it quick enough. I think that's a possible workaround. Also, I hope it. I would hate to see a real injury cost a team in
Yeah.
this situation, because again, I'll like we've seen it before where guys will just look like they're getting lined up and then like sit down and act like they're injured, and it's like, okay, that's clear as day. But there are times where it's like, oh, this guy is like actually like he's trying to work through this injury. He's literally limping back to the behind the line of scrimmage, and he like just fell because he physically couldn't continue. So I know that I can already tell there's going to be at least one controversial, like, wow, that was a bad penalty or bad, like, forced use of a timeout because of this rule.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just hope it leads to better outcomes, more positive outcomes that it hopes to accomplish than the negative hypotheticals that I just named.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree with everything. Again, it's gonna look weird, but also weird. Colorado going to retire Shador Sanders number 2 and Travis Hunter's number 12 at their spring game tomorrow first on Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
they played 2 years each there.
Yeah. Are we forgetting that this Colorado Buffalo school won a national championship back in like the 90s, and I don't think anyone from that team has their number retired. 1990.
99. Oh, 90. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they won the Orange Bowl. Who was part of that team? Did
Eric
any?
Bieniemy. Right, Eric Bieniemy was on that one.
Bieniemy was on that one. I know. Former quarterback of the Steelers, Keon Stewart, something Stewart. No,
Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart. Yeah, I think he was the quarterback of that team.
Oh, it wasn't Joel Klatt.
I'm just gonna really quickly look up the retired numbers at Colorado.
Yeah, as far as I know,
It's
like Eric Bieniemy is like one of the best players ever at Colorado.
Yeah, here's the three I got: Bobby Anderson, 1970, and then that was the last number retired by Colorado. They retired number 24 in 1938 for Byron White and Joe Romig, 1963. He was a guard linebacker. Like, I'm sorry if you don't bring a national championship, I can't agree with this. And I think Deion Sanders' statements earlier today were very hypocritical. He said, if his last name wasn't Sanders, we're not having this conversation. He's like, yeah, we're not having this conversation. He obviously wouldn't have his number retired. How many? He had one winning season. He didn't win a bowl. Like, I can almost hear an argument for Travis Hunter. It's like, oh, he's a Heisman winner.
Yeah,
Maybe there's an argument there, but I'm sorry, Shedeur Stewart. He's not a number retired guy. It doesn't make sense. If no one on that national championship team got their number retired, I'm going to look you straight dead in the eye and be like, nope, his number does not deserve to be retired.
yeah, and it's a recency bias thing too. It's like just because they're going, it's like a stunt for the draft. Like
it's not. Yeah, again, it's not a recency bias thing. It's literally familial bias. Like, this is Deion Sanders throwing his weight around. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is stupid.
Well,
I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. This is stupid. This is nepotism. This is a nepotism jersey retirement.
well, why the hell isn't Shiloh getting his retired then, man? Come on. he played hard too. He's in the draft as well.
Again, anyone that's going to defend this, I welcome any argument, but you have to have a very, very coherent argument, which is simply what makes his jersey retirement more deserving than anyone on the 1990 national championship team. Guys like Cordell Stewart and Eric Bellamy. Like, do you have a good argument? Because right now it's really just branding, and that's it. It's just the Sanders brand. And I'm sorry you don't get your jersey number retired for brand.
Yeah, I mean, freaking Stetson Bennett won back-to-back national titles. He didn't get his jersey retired from Georgia.
Did Clemson retire Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Did Stanford retire
Watson's? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Give me a break. Like, did AJ McCarron get his number retired in Bama? Like,
yeah.
Come on. Like, we're not going to have this conversation, because the second you start to break this conversation down and break the argument down, the flimsy arguments that it was based on are falling apart. It makes zero sense. I'm going to be honest. If I'm the University of Colorado, if I'm the AD, I'm like, this is a black eye on my tenure. Like, this is kind of embarrassing. The first number retirement in my football program in 55 years, and it's a guy that didn't win a bowl game. Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, like, Tim Tebow's number isn't even retired at Florida.
Yeah, he won back-to-back natties.
He's one of the best college football players ever.
Yeah. Again, you and I have just listed 3 or 4 guys just off the cuff, off the top of our heads, and like, yeah, if you're retiring Sanders, why aren't you retiring these guys? And our argument, I'm sorry, it's more sound than the argument for his retirement.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, in college, it's hard to retire numbers. You need the numbers. Like, You have 90 players on the, like there's only so many numbers guys can wear. And luckily in college you can have one on offense and one on defense, which doubles the number pool. But still, it's like you start retiring too many numbers, it's like you're not gonna have enough jerseys.
Yeah, you went from 3 numbers off limits to 5 numbers now off limits. Now there's 95 out of 90 numbers every single year that have to be accounted for.
100 numbers.
Oh, you can do 100? Oh, 0, that's right.
It's 0 to 99, yeah.
Okay, so 5 out of 100 taken out of the picture.
Yeah, and then it's 10 out of 200 then, because you get offense and defense.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how they do it for special teams. I guess offensive and defensive players play, but then like the kickers and punters have their numbers too. Like, do you get 3 because you're kicker and I don't know how they're classified in terms of numbers. Anyways, let's get to the transfer portal. Let's go back to Colorado though, because they lost a couple guys, including running back Isaiah Augustave. I forget how you say his name. Anyways, he was their leading rusher last year, so big blow to them. Again, I have no recollection of what these rosters look like at this point. Obviously, it's transfer portal. We'll get more into that later in the summer when we get closer to college season. This one I do know, though, big time. Cal, running back Jaden Ott. He has already committed to Oklahoma, so Oklahoma is loaded. I mean, they should be ready for the SEC. They got John Mateer in tow at quarterback from Washington State. Now they got Jaden Ott at running back, who's a beast at Cal the last couple of years. He was injured this past year a lot, so didn't have a ton of production. But the year before that, his true freshman season, he was ridiculous. So I'm excited to see Jaden Ott in the SEC this year. Syracuse wide receiver Trevor Pena is in. Again, the spring portal opened yesterday, so I think they said there's like 700 guys in it already, something like that. Yeah, and it's wild too because it's like these kids. There's a ton of these kids that are transferring in the fall window to a school. They stay at the school for a couple months and then they're transferring to another school. It's like, why did you even go to this other school?
Academic purposes.
Like it doesn't even make sense. Like, you can't even get a routine down in a couple months, man. I mean, like, I don't know. I just think it'd be weird, totally weird to be moving every semester. Like, that's just odd. I know there's money, but it's like, dude, I mean, just personally, I don't know how they do it. Anyways, back to the list here. Louisiana Tech wide receiver Dakotas Crawford. He was one of those guys. Started his career at Nebraska. Or actually, no, I think he did play at Louisiana Tech last year. Never mind. Northwestern quarterback Mike Wright. Tulane defensive back Rashawn Pleasant. Nevada running back Savion Red. Washington wide receiver Jonte Cook. He was one of those guys. Transferred from Texas to Washington in the fall. Dismissed from Washington's program in January, though. So he's kind of a different case there. North Dakota State running back Shamar Brown. He's looking to move up to the FBS, I think. Great player. Led the Bison in rushing. Memphis running back Rashad Amos. He was one of those guys. Transferred to Memphis in the fall from Miami, Ohio. Had a great career at Miami of Ohio. Went to Memphis in the fall. He's looking for a different school now. SMU running back LJ Johnson. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. He has an NIL offer on the table from UCLA. That's the place a lot of people are connecting him to. Wouldn't be shocked if he went to a West Coast school, as he has the Hawaiian roots. He went to the same high school, I believe, as Marcus Mariota. So he has those West Coast roots there. LSU running back John Emery. Wisconsin tight end Tanner Koziel. He's another one of those guys. Transferred to Wisco in the fall from Ball State. now looking for another home. He is visiting Houston. He has a visit on the table already. Georgia running back Branson Robinson. Notre Dame quarterback Steve Angeli. So it's interesting. We're finally getting some quarterback movement. There wasn't a ton in the first couple hours of the spring portal. Obviously, Nico was before that. And the big one, he's the number one ranked transfer on 24/7 Sports list. But we got some movement later in the day yesterday of quarterbacks. So Notre Dame quarterback Steve Angeli, Minnesota quarterback Zach Pyron, he transferred in from Georgia Tech in the fall. And Texas State quarterback Giovanni McCoy, he transferred in from Oregon State. So those two guys looking for their third school. Angeli is an interesting one. Notre Dame was having a quarterback battle and seems like he was not going to win, I guess. So moving on. But a experienced starter, he's a grad transfer. So guy that didn't start a ton, but he has played a decent amount when you look at it in terms of against other transfer quarterbacks. All right, let's go to UFL news. More coach movement in the UFL. This is wild through 3 weeks. Showboats head coach Ken Wisenhunt officially stepping down. Ended up only coaching 1 game this year in the UFL, or two games. Yeah, because he came back for week 2, coached week 2, week 3. Yeah, I mean, I guess he just can't health wise. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I was excited. I got to see him. I got to watch a game he coached when I went to the DC Memphis game in DC there. O-line coach Jim Turner going to be back on as the interim head coach. And they also hired former New Orleans Breakers and Pittsburgh Maulers of the USFL offensive coordinator Noel Mazzoni. I think that's how you say his name. As offensive coordinator now for Memphis. So they have a new OC to take over. That was the big issue whenever Coach Wisnun originally stepped down or took a leave right before week 1. It was like, dude, they don't have an offensive coordinator. They don't have a play caller. So they figured it out week 1, and then they got him back for the next 2 weeks, and now they have a real play caller there with Mazzoni. San Antonio, the other 0-3 team in the UFL, they lost their head coach as well. Head coach Wade Phillips taking a leave of absence, so not stepping down. He's dealing with a sickness right now. That's why he was up in the booth for the last game. Wide receivers coach Peyton Pardee filled in pretty admirably. I was impressed with his demeanor on the sideline, his interactions with the officials. There was really a lack of game management from him. It went pretty swimmingly, although they lost. It was a close game, and he's a young guy. I think he's going to do a great job in San Antonio moving forward as the interim head coach. Defenders, big loss for them. They placed wide receiver Ty Scott on IR. He has a broken arm, so not sure how long he's going to be out. Hopefully, he'll be back by the end of the season. We will see, though. I'm not exactly sure what bone and everything is broken there. Showboats, they cut tight end Ryan Izzo. The Stallions, they re-signed offensive tackle Darius Harper. The Panthers, they signed Oklahoma State quarterback Alan Bowman. So he now becomes the second draft eligible player on a roster currently. It is he, along with NC Central quarterback Luke Lennon, is the third quarterback for the Renegades. So, yeah, Bowman signing with the Panthers. They lost Danny Etling to injury. So it's going to be Rocky Lombardi behind Bryce Perkins, and Alan Bowman will serve as the third quarterback there. Yeah, there was another guy that was draft eligible that was in camp, but he got cut in the cut down. It was Joey Asta, Claremont McKenna, linebacker there. So we'll see. Maybe Bowman can I mean, Michigan's pretty royally screwed if Bryce Perkins gets hurt. They have no quarterbacks behind him with any starting experience in professional football. So it's okay though. I love my boy Rocky. Rocky Lombardi's a great guy. So um the Renegades, they signed Stallions defensive end Taco Charlton. Pretty good year last year with Birmingham. They chose not to re-sign him, and he was a free agent, so Renegades scooped them up. They released linebacker Tuzar Skipper there, NFL experienced player. And we got the players of the week yesterday. The offensive player of the week was Panthers quarterback Bryce Perkins, led the Panthers to the 3-point win against San Antonio after starter Danny Etling got injured. Defensive player of the week was defenders edge Andre Mintz. Just a monster last week against St. Louis. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 passes defense, I believe, or 2 forced fumbles as well, and a fumble recovery. So he was everywhere. Great pass rush player there. And special teams player of the week was Panthers wide receiver Devin Ross, 212 kick return yards last week. The Panthers special teams did a really good job on the returns, both most of the kick returns. I didn't really pay attention to the punts too much, but the kick returns, they got good field position every one. We got an update here before we go to NFL news. We got a couple of transfer portal updates here. Wisconsin tight end Tanner Koziol has committed to Houston. I mentioned he visited there, so he is now a Houston Cougar. And how about big news out of Austin? Texas kicker Bert Auburn is in the transfer portal. Have to think he's going to be highly sought after, one of the best kickers in the country. So, yeah, that's big news for the Longhorns for sure. All right, NFL news. The Dolphins, they have agreed to explore a trade of corner Jalen Ramsey. So he's due he is due $25.1 million fully guaranteed this year. His new team's going to only have to pay him $21.1 million because the Dolphins already paid a bonus out there. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the value of Ramsey and what teams potentially? Nothing, Jimmy.
Nothing.
No, nothing on the value and the teams.
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be. He's getting up there for sure. Yeah, but I don't. They're not going to get what teams have gotten for him before. Obviously,
I think the biggest thing is that contract is big. There's not a lot of teams that could really afford him.
Why not? The cap went up. The cap went up.
Sure, the cap's going up, but that's still over $20 million. That's a lot. I know some teams and you got to remember, a lot of teams still have to sign their rookie contracts. There's a lot of teams still waiting for the offseason. A lot of guys like to wait until training camp, wait for injuries to start happening before they fill out the rest of the roster. I don't know. A lot of teams are probably going to look at that $21 million price tag and go, ugh, I don't want to add that right now.
As it stands right now, 19 teams currently have enough money.
How many of those teams could add him and then have at least $10 million left over. I think that's the big one.
11.
11. So I think that takes out like at least 8. And 10 million. It's not chump change, but it's not a ton.
You want to know the teams?
How about let's lower the list. I'm gonna go. How about $15 million they'll have after signing him while taking on his contract?
7.
7. Okay, let's list those 7.
The Patriots still have 68.4 million. The Raiders have 43.1. The Lions have 42.9 almost. The Titans have 39.8. The 49ers have 39.4. The Cowboys have 38.4. Seahawks have 36.9 almost.
Let's see. Makes the most sense there. I think all those teams would look to.
I mean, the Patriots.
Patriots, yeah, I would say Patriots make a ton of sense.
Well, we can cross-reference it with what I have draft need-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Patriots, I do not have secondary as a need for New England. The Raiders, I do not either. Neither do I have it on the Lions. Titans, I have safety, so that's not Jalen Ramsey. 49ers, number one need is corner.
Okay.
So coming back to the NFC West potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, fourth need for me is corner. And then Seattle, I do not have secondary on theirs.
Okay, so of those 7 teams, I think you said them. San Francisco and Dallas makes the most sense. I think San Fran, obviously, big need. They're still thinking themselves as contenders despite their very disappointing season. And with Dallas, I think Jerry Jones is just obsessed with names, no matter who they are. He'd probably get one look at Jalen Ramsey available, and he would overpay. That being said, again, I'd be surprised, even with how good he is. I genuinely would be surprised if they got anything higher than the 4th round pick for him. I think it's definitely one of those, hey, we need this guy off the books. We need to recoup as much value as we can. If you're willing to take him for a 4th, we'll make the deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would definitely take a 4th round pick right now for Jalen Ramsey.
Mhm.
Considering the injuries that he's had as well, he's 30 years old, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean,
Is this his last year of his contract coming up?
No.
No. How many more years?
Well, this is the last. Let me see. Well, this is where after this year is where it Spot Track says there's a potential out, but there's 18.46 million, 0.468 million in dead cap after this year. He still has 3 more years. He
Oof.
signed through 2028.
Oof. That's gonna make it real tough to get rid of him. I think that's a tough thing to pick up. I know the cap's gonna go up, but there's a good chance it's a dead cap hit. And I don't know if know if teams are gonna be like, yeah, I'll give up a 5th round pick for a dead cap hit in a year. Unless you're like, okay, I'm going all in for a Super Bowl this year. Next year be damned. But yeah, that's a tough sell. That's a really tough sell. Because if this is 1 year of Ramsey at 21 million, I think teams are more willing. But man, 3 more years, as you mentioned, injury concern, wrong side of 30. That's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah, because he signed a new deal this year, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was this year. Because he was gonna be a free agent next year, but they signed him to an extension. a 3-year, $72.3 million extension. Only 24.235 mil guaranteed though, on the extension. So, yeah, I mean you're pretty much set there because he has a base of 10 and 10 the next 2 years. It goes up to 21.135. So you can get out after 2 years essentially. By that point, he's going to be 31 this season. So you can get out after his age 33 season. Cuz you cut him, they can't cut him. They can't. They cannot. $49.448 million dead cap hit. So they have to trade him or keep him. They cannot afford to cut him. But next year it's 18.468 mil dead, 11.723 mil dead in 27. So those aren't terrible numbers considering some of the QB dead caps we've seen teams take on in recent years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if your team wanting to trade for Ramsey, it's tough.
I think if you're trading for him, you're trading for him for 2 years.
Yeah,
I think you're thinking you're going to get out, take the 11.7 mil dead cap in 27.
Yeah, I think that's the logic behind trading for him. It's like, okay, I need him for another 2 years. My corner room needs at least, if not talent, at least stability for another 2 years. He can at least fill that role. But yeah, it's going to be a tough sell. I'd be really surprised at the Dolphins getting really good value back.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe though, maybe they do one of those where it's like I don't know. What I always like to do in trades is trade a higher pick to get a higher pick. So like trade Ramsey and a third or a fourth to get a second. That's what I would do.
Maybe. That'd be interesting. But it might be one of those situations where you have to trade Ramsey with a fourth to get a fifth. And then his value might be that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, General Manager Chris Greer said, on the other hand, they are not interested in trading wide receiver Tyreek Hill, which is another situation because of his domestic violence police issue that he had. Police were at his house the other week for a domestic call. So Tyreek, I think at this point knows the Miami PD by first name basis. So, the amount of times he's been involved with them. So yeah, whatever. The Rams, they are going to be the first ever team to host their draft war room at a fire station. They are in the midst of getting their new place built, even though they have a decent place already. They're getting a new place built, and so they are partnering with LA Fire Department to host their draft at the fire station. That's kind of gonna be pretty cool. The Giants, they are working out Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. So it's a string of private workouts for New York. They went to the Boulder to work out Shedeur Sanders. They're going to Tuscaloosa to work out Jalen Milroe, and then they're going to Louisville, Kentucky to work out Tyler Shuff as well. So those are the 3 quarterbacks that they're doing private workouts here right before the draft. We will see. I think all 3, a lot of people think potentially could be in the first round. I think a lot of people obviously have Sanders in the first round. There's a lot of conversation at the back end, though. Is it Milroe? Is it Dart? Is it Shuff? Are one or more of those guys going to somehow make their way into round one? I don't know. But that's the intrigue of the quarterbacks after Cam Ward. Retirement. Big name. Cowboys off tackle Tyron Smith. He signed a 1-day contract to retire as a Cowboy. Cowboys 2011 first round pick, number 9 overall. Spent his entire career essentially in Dallas. 2011 to 2023. Played last year with the Jets. 2-time first team All Pro, 3-time second team All Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 2010's All Decade team. Started all 171 games he played in. Started all 9 playoff games he played in. And yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the best tackles of our generation, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, and I think the biggest thing for him too was he really did have longevity at a position that was very physical. I mean, I don't put him on like a Joe Thomas level, but I mean, he really, really solidified that position for a long time in Dallas.
And it was kind of surprising he had that longevity because of the injuries that kept occurring, especially later in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he was a stalwart at left tackle for the Cowboys for a long time, 13 NFL seasons there together with the Jets last year. But yeah, Pro Football Focus does not have him or not Pro Football Focus, Pro Football Reference does not have him scored as a Hall of Famer. But I will say this though, the offensive tackle scoring very skewed. Like the number 1 Hall of Fame offensive tackle score is Anthony Munoz with the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
It's 153 or something like that. And so that's how a lot of like the top 10 tackles, which are all Hall of Famers, I think the top like 12, 13 scored offensive tackles in NFL history are all Hall of Famers. But Tyron Smith ranks 18th in terms of Hall of Fame score, Pro Football Reference. And like the average is like 90 something, and he's like at like a 78 or something. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, he ranks 18th in tackle Hall of Fame score. So I think he will eventually get in. Like you said, probably not first ballot like Joe Thomas and whatnot, but Joe Thomas was he? He wasn't even a first, was he?
Has he even been eligible? I forget. I'll look that up. Well, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he just got in last year. Or
yeah,
2
his
years.
last career season was 2017.
Yeah, 2 years ago he got in. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 6 years after he retired.
Yeah, so he got it second time.
Mm.
Yeah, but definitely, I think he's not a guy that's going to wait a long time though. All right, draft visits. The last day of draft visits was yesterday, I believe. So here's some last minute ones. The Steelers hosted a ton of running backs. So one of the Steelers beat reporters tweeting out 9 of the Steelers' top 30 visits were running backs. So highly likely the Steelers are going to draft the running back pretty high. I would say their 3rd round pick is more than likely going to be a running back, which I don't really like. I like Jaylen Warren. I don't know what the issue is, why they don't want Jaylen Warren, or why they don't think Jaylen Warren can be the guy. They want a pounder, and they want like I don't know. They want like a thunder and lightning combo, kind of like Detroit has. But I don't know. I like Jaylen Warren. I think there's much bigger needs, and when you don't have a 2nd round pick, I think there's better ways to go with your third rounder that the Steelers have. But that's just me. First rounder, who knows, quarterback, whatever. But unless there's something happens to Ashton Genty and he falls to the 21, like that's the only way I'd take a running back in round 1 for Pittsburgh. So, anyways, two of their 9 running back visits occurred yesterday. Ohio State running back Travion Henderson and UCF running back RJ Harvey. Seahawks hosted Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe and Michigan corner Will Johnson. Rams also hosting Milroe. 49ers, Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons, Tennessee defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott, and Tennessee edge rusher James Pierce Jr. Patriots hosted Georgia running back Trevor Etienne. Jets hosted Norman Lott. Falcons, they hosted LSU defensive end Braden Swinson and William & Mary offensive tackle Charles Grant. Pretty much the consensus number 2 FCS player. Bills hosted Ole Miss corner Trey Amos. Commanders hosting Ole Miss wide receiver Trey Harris. Raiders hosting Charles Grant. And the Bears. Bears hosted Ohio State safety Jordan Hancock. Broncos hosted Ohio State running back Travion Henderson. Cardinals hosting Texas offensive tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. And the Texans, they hosted Ohio State guard Donovan Jackson. So there you go. Keeping with the Ohio State theme here, the Titans, they released former third-round offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere. So an experienced offensive lineman nonetheless on the market now, even though he's kind of a bust as a third-rounder. One re-signing, talk about Bengals. They re-signed quarterback Logan Woodside. An extension here, the Bears locking up another defender for them, signing linebacker TJ Edwards, 2 years, $20 million extension, $16.6 million fully guaranteed for Edwards there. Second payday for him from Chicago. Tackling machine, miss him from his Eagles days, but yeah, really solid player in the middle of that Chicago D. Where's Thomas at? Where's Thomas at, Jimmy?
He's across the street.
He's coming through. So.
Coming through. Choo choo, everyone. I've lived at this house for, let's see, March of 2010, 15 years now, and that train is white noise at this point. Like every time I have someone over, like, oh, how do you live with a train across the street? As I could do it at this point, it's just part of life. I don't even notice it half the time.
Yeah. One signing today, the Bills, they signed Ravens corner Tre'Davious White, 1 year, $6.8 million deal there. Back with the team that drafted him in the first round way back when. But, yeah, still hanging on to his NFL career there. Injuries have really killed him the last couple of seasons, but played decent, I guess, with the Rams in Baltimore last year. And one visit to note, the Bills also hosted Eagles corner James Bradbury on a visit. So, all right. Seeing nothing else new on the on X. So yeah. Let's go to the UFL game previous year. UFL pick standings. Danny's running away, man. He's running away from us. He is electric right now. 10-2. He is a silent assassin. But yeah, got 2 games up on you and I now, Jimmy. We keep picking the same people. And Christian's having a rough time. Yeah, but last week Danny went 2-0. He is now 3-0 on his lone wolves. That's the reason he went 3-1. You got the Stallions right in their comeback win over the Arlington on Friday, and you got DC right over St. Louis on Sunday, the last game. Christian 0-4 in his lone wolf so far this season because he got another one wrong. The Brahmas losing on the missed game tying field goal by destroying was his lone wolf there. No lone wolves this week because we're pretty much chalk. Showboats at the Panthers tomorrow. 8.5 for Michigan. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like Memphis plus 8.5. It's just it's a lot of points. I understand the coach thing, but when I saw Memphis in person in DC, I was impressed with how they played. Obviously, that was Coach Wisenhunt's first game. Not going to be behind the bench anymore here, but yeah, I like Memphis. I have him plus 8 that I got it yesterday. So plus 8.5, even better. I just think they're a scrappy team. They got some good players on defense. And EJ Perry has something to prove. This is the second game of this series this year. They played in week 1 as well. Michigan beat them. And Memphis is going to want revenge, I think. EJ Perry is going to want revenge because he didn't start that game. Troy Williams did. So I think EJ Perry is going to want to beat his former team that did not end up re-signing him. And these two teams are middle of the pack defensively. They're both in the bottom half of the league in terms of points allowed. Memphis gives up 16.3. Michigan gives up 16.7. They're almost exact on yards. 258.7 for Memphis, 258.3 for Michigan. The sacks are a big difference. 5 for Michigan, 2 for Memphis. That's been an issue for them as pass rush. And also an issue, Memphis, no turnovers this year on defense. Michigan is tied for third with 4. So, yeah, Memphis, I said they have some good defenders. They got to get the ball, though. They got to get some turnovers off Bryce Perkins. And pass rush, they got to get sacks as well if they're going to win this game. But I like them to keep it close. Keep it within almost a one-score game. I know one score. Yeah, keep it within a one-score game because it's 9 points is a one-score in the UFL. So, total's 35.5 here. Well, the defenses, anyways, combine for 32, 33. I'm thinking I'm going to go on the under side. I don't know. I think under. I like under here. It's a Friday night game as well. I feel like those typically have gone under. I think every Friday game has gone under so far. So under 35.5. 8 p.m. on Fox tomorrow. Saturday we have a doubleheader. Battlehawks at the Renegades, and we're Splitsville here. Battlehawks getting 1.5 on the road. And you and Christian, Jimmy, are on St. Louis. Danny and I are on the Renegades. I feel bad for you, sir. You are picking with a man who is 3-9. I am picking with a man who is 10-2. So, how does that make you feel, Jimmy?
He's got to win sometime, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, Arlington was my pick to win the XFL conference. St. Louis was close. They were right there with DC, but they lost to DC last week. Got absolutely demolished by them, actually, losing by 15. Or 12, whatever it was. But the biggest thing and why I am picking Arlington is the defense. This defense, it is lights out. 9.3 points per game, Jimmy. They've allowed 9, 9, and 10 in their 3 games so far. That is 10 points fewer than DC, which is the number 2 scoring defense. They have allowed the third least yards per game, 257.7. Would be lower, but last week they gave up 308 to Birmingham. The sack numbers aren't great. They have the third least in the league, and they have the third least turnovers in the league as well. But what matters is they don't let up points, right? So, yeah, that's why I'm going with them. Really, St. Louis is middle of the pack. They give up 14 points per game, 246.3 per game yards. Their sack numbers are really good, though. They're tied for second with 7 sacks. They're also number 2 in turnovers with 5 interceptions on the year. So it should be a good one. I think these offenses as well. Manny Wilkins had his worst game of the season last week against DC, and I just think Arlington's going to do the same thing. Defensively, even though the sack numbers haven't been there. Let me see, because they had just released the depth charts for this game here right before the show. So let me see defensively if oh, okay, so yeah, great. Taco Charlton is active. He's going to be in the rotation at outside linebacker. So yeah, I mean, he's a guy that had, I believe, 6 sacks last year for Birmingham. And they need this pass rush to start moving, and I think they're going to have a good opportunity to do it with Taco Charlton in tow there. Total's 39.5. I would lean on the under very strongly. Strongly lean on the under. I took Arlington money line, so whatever you want. 12:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. The Saturday nightcap, Stallions at the Roughnecks. We are all on Birmingham, and yeah, man, I like Birmingham to cover. I do not believe in this Houston team. I know they won last week, but someone had to win. They were facing Memphis, who was also winless. Birmingham, on the other hand, struggled mightily against that Arlington defense. Did enough to come back and win with Matt Corral. I think he's going to play better against this Houston defense, who gives up the second most points per game, 19.7. They give up the most yards per game, 339.7. They are tied for third in sacks with 5, and they're tied for second or third in turnovers with 4. They also have a defensive touchdown. Leon O'Neal, who was balled out for this Roughnecks defense, pick 6 EJ Perry last week. But I don't think he's going to do that against Matt Corral. I think this Stallions team has a lot to prove coming off the rough outing last week. And their defense isn't a scrub either. 13 points per game allowed, 267 yards. They're tied for second with 7 sacks. They're tied for third with 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and 2 picks. So I believe in this Skip Holtz-led squad, and I think they're going to put it on Houston on Saturday night on the kind of primetime spotlight there. 36.5 is the total. I would lean on the under. I'm not confident in Anthony Brown scoring points on offense. Or actually, it's Nolan Henderson. It's Nolan Henderson. So you know what? I'll lean on the over, actually. I forgot. Nolan Henderson's the new starting quarterback for Houston. So I would lean on the over. 7 p.m. on Fox. Primetime Saturday night. And Easter Sunday, we got a game. Defenders, the Brahmas at the Defenders. My bad, I forgot to change that up there. Brahmas at the Defenders. 7.5 for DC here. I don't like that line. I think San Antonio probably covers. They did last week, and they lost by 3 against Michigan. San Antonio, though, man, 0-3. Them and Memphis are the only winless squad so far, and no Wade Phillips. But again, I was impressed with Peyton Pardee on the sideline last week, so I think they cover probably. They keep it close enough. The biggest issue is the San Antonio defense, man. It's horrendous. 28.3 points per game. They're getting rocked every game so far. 33, 26, and 26. They gave up the second most yards per game, 326.7. They only have 2 sacks, the least, tied for the least in the league with Memphis. And they only have 2 turnovers, which is second to last in the league, only above Memphis. One thing they do have, though, they do have a defensive touchdown. Jordan Williams picked 6th Bryce Perkins last week. And they blocked a field goal as well. Last week, I think, too. Or I can't remember who it was against. Yeah, it was last week. They blocked a field goal. So they got some stuff going for them, I guess. I just, the numbers are the numbers, and you can't get away from the numbers. So I'm thinking that, despite that, I like the under in this game. The under is now 37.5. Luckily for me, I got it at 38. Why do I like the under if San Antonio is giving up the most points per game? For 2 reasons. One, because DC allows the second least points per game, 12.7 points per game. They allow the least yards per game, 202.7 yards per game. That's ridiculous. They have the most sacks, 11. They have the most turnovers, 9. And they blocked the field goal that essentially won the game against Memphis in week 2. The second reason is DC offensively, until last week, the first 2 games of the year, they weren't very good. They didn't score a ton of points. So I don't know if they're going to score a ton of points again or not. They scored a ton last week in St. Louis, despite Jordan Ta'amu throwing 2 interceptions. I don't know if that will happen again. But what I do know is this DC defense shuts it down, whether it's Greg Williams or Blake Williams. It doesn't matter. We got a Williams at the head of the defense. They're shutting them down. So I like the DC defense to absolutely shut down Calamond. I do not. He had his best outing last week, and they lost still. So, yeah, this DC defense is ridiculous, and I think they might even shut him out. But I don't know if DC is going to score 38 by themselves. So that's why I'm going with the under. But everyone's on DC. All right. Let's get to the Giants Patriots mock draft. We're getting closer to the end of our mock draft series. That will occur on Monday. We got the Giants 334, 65, 99. Compensatory pick 99 there. Patriots 438, 69, 77. 77 is the third rounder they got from the Falcons, the Matt Judon trade. So let's roll into it here. Titans, Cam Ward. Browns, Travis Hunter. All right. So everyone's saying this is where the draft starts, right? Kind of. Some people are saying it starts with Cleveland. But I think it starts with the Giants, just like a lot of people do, though. And while these trades aren't bad by any means, from San Francisco and Dallas, I don't know what they want. Actually, I do. They both want Abdul Carter, who is the number 1 rated player on Pro Football and Sports Network here, as is he on most people's. Some people have Travis Hunter number 1. Anyways, Giants. What do I have for them? Tackle. Tackle is my number one need for the New York Giants. Why? Andrew Thomas is great at left tackle. Right tackle, though, I'm just not. I'm not sold on Jermaine Illuminor. Um, Stone Forsythe and James Hudson they signed in free agency. They still have Evan Neal, by the way. He just has not worked. He's been a first round bust essentially. Um, so I have tackle as the number one need. Number two for me, interior O line. Interior O line, which it's really just guard. The right guard, Greg Van Roten. I'm not sold on him at right guard. They do have Aaron Stinney as well. Um, mm, but yeah, I think they need guard. Edge is my third one. So edge is a big issue. Not really a big issue, but Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau studs. They don't have any depth. They signed Chauncey Golston, solid, decent. Tamon Fox and Victor Dimukeje they signed as well. Yeah, not great at all. Interior D line. Again, it's pretty good. The starters: Dexter Lawrence, Raheem Nunez Roaches, DJ Davidson, 22 fifth rounder. They signed Roy Robertson Harris as well, and Jeremiah Ledbetter. They have a 23 seventh rounder and Jordan Riley. But again, the depth is not great. And DJ Davidson, I think they could upgrade there probably at one of the DN spots in their 3-4. Wide receiver, big time. The Giants have kept these guys that they have, and they're guys. They're just guys. To be honest, Darius Slayton has really produced well beyond what he really should be producing. Wandale Robinson, they're still hoping for him. Injuries have killed his career so far as a second rounder in 22. They signed Zach Pascal and Lil Jordan Humphrey in the offseason as veterans, and they still have 23 third rounder Jalen Hyatt on the roster as well, who has not panned out in 2 seasons so far. And obviously, Malik Neighbors is a stud going into year 2, and they have Amir Smith Marset as a special teams player and Bryce Ford Wheaton. But again, they need more. They need a solid number 2 for Malik Neighbors to work with. And then quarterback, of course, quarterback. You got to find the future. You got Russ and Jameis signed this year. You re-signed Tommy DeVito as well, but where is the future at running at quarterbacks? So that's what I have for the Giants. But obviously, we're picking Abdul, right?
I think if Abdul drops a 3, you take him. I mean, the need-based pick would be Will Campbell, and I love Will Campbell. I think he's the best offensive tackle in the draft. I really do think it's a match made in heaven. But I think if Abdul Carter is available at 3, it's a steal. I really do think it's a steal. I would take Carter over Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, traditional, traditional philosophy tells you Will Campbell here, but man, I love Abdul Carter. The only reason I would say maybe not Abdul, I think they might still believe in Thibodeau. I don't. Not to say that he's a bust like Evan Neal is, but I don't think he's hit that ceiling that they are expecting him to hit quite yet. But I do believe the Giants believe in him. So maybe they wouldn't want to rock the boat. And I think, as you said, there's not a lot of depth there, but Abdul Carter, you don't draft for depth, you draft for him to be the guy. But yeah, I would still do Carter. I think Carter is the guy. I think he makes a ton of sense for the Giants. I wouldn't do Shador Sanders here. I know the Giants want a quarterback, but if you don't have guys to protect the quarterback, don't draft him. And I don't think Shador Sanders is worthy of the 3rd overall pick. I just don't believe he is.
Yeah, and actually, I should be changing these needs. Just looking at their roster, what it is right now, because we'll talk about it. Their other picks, but uh, they need secondary. By the way,
Mhm.
I don't know why I didn't list that. My needs are from April 2nd, so a little outdated, I guess, at this point. But it's not like they signed any. They had all these guys on April 2nd, so I don't know what I was thinking at that time. But that's what time does, right? It changes your mind. Yeah, Abdul Carter for sure. All right, Patriots. My goodness, Falcons. Yeah, Cardinals. Ooh, that's interesting. Interesting.
Not
Interesting.
a bad one. That's actually not a bad one. It keeps you in the top 10.
2 picks.
Well, let's talk about who's available.
Yeah. Okay. So New England here. What do I got? I got tackle as the number one need. Yeah, it's left tackle. They signed Morgan Moses to be the right tackle. They need a left tackle. Vidarian Lowe is the guy right now. I am kind of disappointed they never really gave my boy Caden Wallace a shot. He's a 24 third rounder, uh, you know, out of Penn State. And they never gave him a shot, man. I mean, maybe he's going to compete with Morgan Moses at right tackle because that's where he's better fit. That's where he played in college. He didn't play left tackle. He did play a little bit last year, um, but they never really gave him a shot. He wasn't the greatest. He was raw, which was the issue. Actually, I don't know why that was the issue because he had a bunch of starts at Penn State, 2-year starter, I believe. But at right tackle, though, again, I think he's more natural at right tackle, so I think he's going to compete with Morgan Moses potentially. So they need a left tackle. After that, I have wide receiver. It's kind of like the Giants, to be honest. It's a bunch of guys. Pop Douglas has been pretty solid find as a 6th rounder 2 years ago in 23. Stephon Diggs they signed. We talked about that. That's big risk with a 30-year-old coming off ACL. Kayshon Boutte is 23 6th rounder, just like Pop Douglas, but he is not really panned out like Pop has. Kendrick Bourne's coming back from injury again, or he did last year, I guess, at the end of the year. They did sign Mac Hollins, who's coming off a couple of solid years with the Bills, specifically last year. They still have Javon Baker, a 24 4th rounder last year. Jalen Polk, I don't know why he's listed as a 3rd stringer. He's a 2nd rounder last year. I don't know why our lads is listing him all the way down there. And they have Jaquay Jackson as well, who was drafted by the Titans but got cut and signed with New England. But yeah, they need a guy. They need a number one wide receiver. They haven't had it in a while. So wideout's big deal in New England. Interior O line. Yeah, I mean, they have Mike Onwenu, the 2026 rounder. They signed Wes Schweitzer to be a backup. They do still have Layden Robinson, 24 4th, City So, 23 4th, Jake Andrews, a 23 4th. So they've used some picks. These guys just aren't playing. And Cole Strange has been up and down as a 1st rounder in 22. And of course, they signed your boy Garrett Bradbury at center, but they don't have any depth. Interior D line is my next one. So that changed a little bit. Obviously, they got Milton Williams, the big deal. Christian Barmore's a stud, but he's had the blood clot issues. So who knows if he's going to be able to play? They really have no depth. They have Kyrus Tonga, who they signed from the Cardinals as their starting nose right now. Eric Johnson, who they got off waivers from the Colts. They have Jeremiah Farms, Jaquelin Roy as well, Marcus Harris. So yeah, they have like no depth, and I need a nose tackle, essentially someone that's better than Tonga, and we need insurance in case Christian Barmore is not able to play. And then running back. They have Ramondre Stevenson. They have Antonio Gibson. I'm not sold though, right? Like, I don't know. I think they need a guy for the future. And they can get better than Ramondre Stevenson. Love Ramondre. He's a great player. Has had some really solid years in New England. But he's a 21 fourth rounder. And he got re-signed, I guess. He would have had to get re-signed because this past year would have been his 4th year. Yeah. So he got signed to an extension. But so he's signed through 28 right now. But it's not like it's big money. I mean, it's a next year if you let him go, $3.25 million dead cap hit.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Cool. Like it's not like it's massive. So and you can get out of the deal. There's no dead cap. It's essentially a 2-year deal. So you can get out of it next year. Or after. You can get out of it in 27 essentially without paying any price. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think running back should be a focus. I think they need a third one definitely. A guy that should be able to beat out Antonio Gibson to start and then I think take over eventually. So who do we like here for New England? Are we going to do chalk?
Let's see. I think to me, when you draft the franchise quarterback last year, you got to draft the franchise guy that's going to protect them. And Will Campbell's screaming at me right now. I know you mentioned defensive tackle. I love Mason Graham. I think he's the best D tackle. Genty is an interesting target. And even McMillan, but I'm not passing up on Campbell. I'm not even taking the Raiders' offer because I don't want to miss on Campbell. I'm not going to settle for Menbu when Campbell's right there. So Will Campbell, if I'm the Patriots, I'm sprinting up to the podium, handing in my card and saying, I need Will Campbell on my team.
Yeah, and I talked to our guy Darius, who's a Patriots fan, the other day, talking about Patriots needs, and he's like, "Is it going to be Campbell?" I was like, "More than likely." I was like, "Dude, though, if Hunter or Carter are available, you take one of them, whoever's there." But obviously, neither of those are here, so yeah, we'll go Will Campbell.
I would probably take Carter over Campbell. I don't know if I'd take Hunter over Campbell.
Well, you need a wide receiver 1. That's the thing.
That's true. That's true.
And he can play corner as well and solidify even more so the back end of the defense, which, again, I have no qualms with the Patriots secondary. They signed Carlton Davis in free agency, who had an issue in Detroit, but Christian Gonzalez is a stud. Marcus Jones is a stud in the nickel. Alex Austin's been a solid undrafted guy. They have Marcellus Dial is 24 6th rounder. Isaiah Bolden's a 23 7th rounder. He's a special teamer more than likely there. But yeah, I like their top guys for sure. Their top 4 or 5, which is what you're going to play with anyways. So. All right, Jags. Armand Membu. Interesting. Ashton Genty to the Raiders. Mason Graham to the Jets. Wow. Will Johnson, yes. Panthers. Let's go. Tetrell McMillan to the Saints. Ooh. Tyler Warren to the Bears. I still don't understand that one. Jalen Walker to the 49ers. Shamar Stewart. Wow, the Cowboys passed on Sanders. Seahawks coming up for Banks. 18 and a second to the Dolphins. Shamar Sanders, Steelers. 21-83 and a second next year. Mike Green to the Falcons. That's a home run. Michael Williams to the Cards. Malachi Starks to the Bengals. Dolphins going Josh Simmons. So that's an interesting one. Seattle traded up for Kelvin Banks. They gave up a second rounder next year. And the Dolphins still drafted tackle. Colson Loveland to the Bucks. That's weird. Matthew Golden to the Broncos. Okay. Nicky Manwari to the Colts. Walter Nolan to the Chargers. Jade Barron to the Pack. Vikes. Oh, okay. Seahawks coming up again. 50, 52, and 92. Wow.
Answered. I would personally. I'm a Viking fan. I would personally not pass up on Tyler Booker if I'm the Vikings. I'd hate the idea of missing him.
The Seahawks are done. They're done till day 3. Damn, that's a solid. I mean, Banks and Booker though. That's a ridiculous haul. I will say that. Grace Abel to the Texans, Jahad Campbell to the Rams, Siobhan Ravel to the Ravens, Derek Harmon to the Lions. Interesting they didn't go edge with Scorton and Pierce available. Mick Egbuka to the Commanders, James Pierce to the Bills. Chiefs going Nick Scorton. The Eagles going Donovan Jackson. Yeah, they had to, really. I mean, actually, Ezra Waku, I think, could have been, and Kenneth Grant would have been options. Ariante Ursary for the Browns, so they have not drafted quarterback yet. Oh, wow. Okay.
News?
Yeah. Ryan Ramczyk has announced his retirement.
Oh.
So that is, yeah. Well, he had an issue last year, couldn't play. Yeah, PUP list, knee surgery, had to have multiple knee surgeries. I remember that. Yeah. So yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, that's one of those that sucks, man. It's like you want to go out how you want to go out, and he didn't get that choice, man. Unfortunately, had to retire injured. But yeah, I mean, a great career for sure in New Orleans. But yeah, and then obviously we had the Trevor Penning issue as well. One other thing to note that I saw on the feed, yeah, Ryan Ramczyk hasn't played since 2023. Another thing I saw, South Alabama quarterback Gio Lopez has committed to North Carolina. So Bill Belichick getting a stud at QB to add to his already, which I thought it was a pretty solid QB room there for North Carolina. Max Johnson, who got injured his first start last year. But actually, never mind. They on our lads anyways, they only had the freshman Bryce Baker behind him. So yeah, I mean, Gio Lopez a great get though, really solid player, dual threat as well. Anyways, back to this here. Don't like that. 10 spots for a third rounder. This one's not bad. A third for a third. But you move back 5 spots. I don't mind that one. But this is where everyone has been picking, right? The Browns and the Giants. Everyone's intrigued with what they're going to do. And the board fell perfectly. I think you have to take Jackson Dart right here. You need a guy for the future. And I think Dart, although he is definitely more ready than Milroe, there could be arguments on whether he's as ready or more than Shedeur Sanders. But he's in a perfect situation in New York. He doesn't have to play at all. With Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, you do not even need Jackson Dart to sniff the field in 2025. Redshirt year, essentially. And it lessens, it expands that even more that he's a second-round pick. There's no pressure Not as much pressure, I should say, as a second-round quarterback as there is as a first-round quarterback. So I think Jackson Dart should be the pick, despite the needs. When you're talking quarterback, it's a different animal. So
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Jackson Dart here. I think he's the best. I think he's the third best quarterback in this draft. I take him over Milroe, 10 out of 10. As intriguing as that Bears draft trade is, you're not going to have Dart available there. So you stick and pick.
yeah. Titans going Luther Burden, Omarion Hampton for the Jags, Ben Morrison for the Raiders. Not liking that one from San Francisco. So we got Will Campbell in tow. What do we need next? Well, the next need I have is wide receiver. And the next best one is Trey Harris. I'm not that sold on him. Interior O-line's my next need. We don't have really any guys here. Interior D-line, though, we do. And I think Kenneth Grant would be the pick there if that's where we're going. Running back, unfortunately, Omarion Hampton just got taken. So I think Kenneth Grant's the guy here.
Yeah, it's either Grant or Williams. I think both of those guys are great. To me, I think it's just kind of scheme fit. What would they rather have?
Yeah.
I think Kenneth Grant is the bigger guy. So if you're looking for a really big guy,
he's an inch taller, 3 pounds lighter than Williams.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, similar guys. They're going to be run stoppers up the middle. I love Williams. I mean, obviously, I've watched him. I think he had a really good playoff, college football playoff. I kind of lean Williams, to be honest. I think his ability to stuff up the middle is great.
My thing is I think Kenneth Grant can do similar things because they're almost the exact same height, weight. They can do similar, but I think Kenneth Grant gives you more upside in the pass rush than Tyleik Williams does.
I would agree. I think that this last year, I think Tyleik Williams only got to the quarterback 3 times. I think he only had 3 sacks last year. I think he's a very traditional D lineman. He's going to force a double team up the middle. He's not going to get to your quarterback. Kenneth Grant, I think his game is a little bit more
refined.
Dynamic. Okay. I would say, I think, not to say Williams is a one-trick pony. It's just that the one thing Tyleik Williams does really well, he does really well. I think Kenneth Grant does a lot of things really well as well. But Tyleik does the run stuffing almost to an elite level, I would say. So it really just depends. If you're looking for the all-around guy, Kenneth Grant, I think, makes more sense. If you need a guy with Tyleik Williams' skill set, you would take him. It just depends on what the Patriots want.
I like Kenneth Grant here.
That's fair. I don't think it's a bad pick.
I think both guys Vrabel would like. Mm-hmm. Connerly to the Bears. Landon Jackson to the Saints. Bears up again. Xavier Watts. Jalen Milroe. There's the Browns. 67 second. Donovan Ezra-Waku for the Niners. That's a home run. Caleb Johnson to the Cowboys. Bengals coming up for Tyleik. 49 and 153. Carson Schweschinger to the Falcons. Trey Harris to the Cards. Dolphins going Wyatt Millum. Colts, Travion Henderson. Okay. Jonas Savaiine to the Vikes. That's a big one.
Traded back when they could have taken Booker. Damn it. Come on.
Oh, got a good player, and they got 2 other.
I'm taking Booker if he's available.
I like Savaiine a lot.
I love him, but I love Booker. But anyway.
Trey Amos to the Broncos. Vikes coming up. Or no, that's their other pick. Maxwell Hairston. That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
Bengals coming back up again. 81 in the second for JT Tuimoloau. Jalen Noel for the Pack. Chargers going Mason Taylor. I love that. Darius Alexander for the Bills. Marcus Bowe to the Panthers. Emory Jones to the Texans. Kyle Williams to the Ravens. Got Jalen Royals going to the Lions. Azariah Thomas to the Commanders. Jack Besh to the Bills. Chiefs going Ozzie Trapilo. Eagles going Femi Oladejo. I love that. He's my boy. I love Femi. He just commented on my tweet the other day. He won the Good Guy Award at the Senior Bowl. And I tweeted out, he was a really good guy. Found my phone on the field after practice and got it back to me real quick. And then I got an interview with him, which he's a good dude. Would love him to be in Philadelphia. Anyways, we're on the Giants here. Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart here. Giants. I got tackle. We don't have tackles. They all went right there in that round. Again, I don't think it's a pressing need. Interior O-line. We do Tate Ratledge, my boy, is here. We already got edge rush. We already got quarterback. Interior D-line. We got TJ Sanders available. Wide receiver. Got Jaden Higgins. I know John loves him. He's a good guy too. Talked to him a little bit at the Senior Bowl. And remember I mentioned corner. Corner's really not great, so I would throw in Darian Porter in the ring here as well.
You want to hear mock trade I got an idea of doing? Moving up the Patriots to 65 to get Quinshon Judkins. Add to that running back room. Giants drop down to 69. They could get probably a guy like Sanders or Ratledge or Higgins and Porter. I think at least one of those guys is going to be available at 69.
Depends what we'd have to give up.
Well, let's propose that trade real quick and see.
Because the Giants have 5 picks after this one, including 99. The Patriots, after 69, they have 6 picks, including 77. What the Giants lack is a 6th. Neither team has a 6th round pick.
So how about, let's say the Patriots were to offer 69 and a 4th round pick next year, or a 5th round pick next year.
I don't know. I don't really like trading up here. Running back's my last need for New England. And I just think they have Stevenson, they have Gibson. I don't think you need a 3rd round running back for New England. Even though he could become the guy, they have running back. That's why it's my last need, because wide receiver is much bigger, much bigger need. As is the interior O and D line.
No, it was just a thought. Because I'm thinking the Chiefs are going to take Quinshon.
That's okay. Yeah, for the Giants, I don't know. I'm okay with, like I said, Tate Ratledge, Jaden Higgins, Darian Porter, TJ Sanders. I would probably go with Higgins, even though I have interior O-line as a need above wide receiver. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think Higgins would be the better player, the best out of all these guys that I'm saying, in terms of what they need.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd go Higgins if you're going wide receiver here.
One of the Iowa State guys, I think, are the top 2, him or Porter. So I'd go ahead and get Higgins. Chiefs, Harold Fannin. So you're wrong, dude.
I thought they'd take him.
Elike O'Manor to the Jets. Raiders going Chris Paul. No. New England. So the Giants took our pick. Yeah, Jaden Higgins would have been fantastic to get. So, what are we left with? Interior O line, interior D line. We got them: Ratledge, Sanders. Uh, or actually, we don't need D line. I forgot. We got Kenneth Grant.
Yeah, I'd go Ratledge here. As much as I love Judkins,
Or running, yeah. So running back and interior O line are the only two needs that I have here.
do you want to take? Because you're picking at 77 here. Do you want to take Judkins here and then see if you can get Ratledge at 77?
You're not going to. See, I would be okay.
I like Giddens actually.
I'm not that big of a fan of Giddens, but I am a fan of Cam Scatterby.
I know. I know. Every time we get to this part of every single draft, it's like, oh, is
But
Scatterby available?
you do have Jared Wilson though, is also going to be on the board. And I was incorrect. I read something somewhere that said Wilson can also play guard. I thought he was a true center. Apparently, he can play guard as well. So that is totally fine. I'm totally fine with taking Quinshot Judkins, and then you'll see if Ratledge and hopefully Wilson will be there.
I'm cool with that too.
Darian Porter to the Jags. Tate Ratledge
There he goes.
to the Saints. Barrett Carter to the Bears. Jets going Jordan Birch. Terrence Ferguson to the Panthers. Don't like that. Denzel Burke to the Niners. Cowboys, Tyler Shuff. There's the quarterback for Dallas. One pick, Jimmy. We move up around next year. I think it's fine. You know what?
The thing is, though, I think with this pick, if I'm New England, it's I'm taking Jared Wilson, or I'm not really. It'd be a different story if it like Tate Ratledge and Wilson were still available. Like, can we guarantee Arizona is coming up for TJ Sanders or Princely Umanamet? Sorry, I always mention
Yellen.
Umanamet. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think Arizona would be one of the edge rushers probably. But what I'm saying is that so we already got a 330-pounder, right? And Kenneth Grant. What I would be looking at for some reason, if Jared Wilson's not, if that's who the Cardinals are going to pick, I'm okay with that because the Patriots need multiple defensive linemen anyways. And what I would be looking at in that scenario is TJ Sanders, Omar Norman Lott, or Shamar Turner, because those guys are just under 300. They're all three around 290, 293, which is perfect for more of a 5 tech or a 3 tech D end in their 3-4 base. We needed depth anyways and insurance if Barmore can't play. So I'm okay trading back one spot, move up around next year.
All right, let's see what happens. I'll bite the bullet.
Like I want Jared Wilson, but it's okay. And they went Alfred Collins, which is the D tackle we weren't going to draft anyways.
Okay.
So yeah, now we get Jared Wilson. Cool.
All right. My worries were subsided.
Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, Jimmy.
Sometimes you do. It's because sometimes that biscuit's good.
Shamar Turner, there you go, the Texans. Princely Umanmiel into the Colts. Dorian Strong to the Bucks. Seahawks going Tez Johnson. Torrey Horton to the Colts. Bucks back on with Braden Swinson. Broncos going Cam Scatterby. That's a home run. DJ Giddens to the Chargers. Ashton Gelati to the Packers. Jags going Kevin Winston. I love that fit. Josiah Stewart to the Texans. Rams going Gunnar Helm. Lathan Ransom to the Ravens. Vikes going Deion Walker. That's gross. Kobe Bryant to the Saints. Savion Williams to the Browns. Billy Bowman to the Chiefs. Bashaw Tootin to the Eagles. That's gross as well. Andrew Makuba to the Vikes. That's a good one. Kyle Kennard for the Dolphins. Back on with the Giants. So what do we get here? We got Carter. We got Dart. We got Higgins. And the last thing that we really haven't addressed is O-line. We got Cam Williams sitting here, or Dylan Fairchild, whichever one you want to go with. Or a lot of people like Charles Grant, man. He's been a riser, the second best FCS player in the draft.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm completely blanking. Who we picked with the Giants so far?
I just told you.
Sorry, I blanked.
Carter, Dart, and Higgins.
Okay, I see. I feel like Cam Williams is dropping for no reason. To me, it's down to two guys. It's Cam Williams or TJ Sanders. I know defensive tackle depth is also a need for the Giants. I think Sanders dropping this late into a third is a huge value pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of doing interior offensive line here. Especially, I think the Giants still have their early fourth round pick, so they could probably get Fairchild. I like it. To me, it's Williams or Sanders. I like Sanders a lot. I think he should have been drafted about 20, 30 picks ago. I don't know how he's still here at 99. I think if the Giants were to take him, it's a huge value get. But Cam Williams is a pretty good need fill. I feel like Cam Williams, like 2 months ago, he was going in the second round. I don't know what he's doing way back here. Did something happen? Like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
I just don't think he tested well, probably.
That's probably it.
Yeah, but yeah, again, I know a lot of people like Charles Grant. But yeah, they pick in 6 picks. They have 105 in the 4th round. So I would definitely go O-line here.
Okay. You go O-line, and then
I would take a chance with Charles Grant, probably. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard much of Grant. I always get nervous about trenches guys and FCS. Is it FCS? I always forget if it's FCS.
Mm-hmm.
I always get nervous about trenches guys in FCS. Unlike in like skill positions, it's a little harder to figure out. If you are going O tackle, I feel like Cam Williams is a safer pick, even if he didn't do well in the combine.
Okay.
I would do Cam Williams.
I don't care. I'm good with that. Last 3 here. 49ers going TJ Sanders. There you go.
Pick.
Rams. Oh, Elijah Arroyo. 117, 153. Nicole. Dylan Fairchild to the Lions to end it there. So Patriots, I like it. This is a very good draft. Will Campbell at 4. Kenneth Grant at 38. Quinton Judkins at 69. We got Jared Wilson at 78. Got a 4th rounder next year, moved up around from the 5th from the Cardinals. And then Giants, we stuck and picked at every spot. Number 3 overall, we got Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, quarterback of the future at 34, Jaden Higgins 65, and Cam Williams at 99. So, yeah, I do think the Patriots had the better draft. But I don't hate either of them. Very solid. This was the first one in a while where it was like I thought the board was matching up with our needs.
Yeah. I didn't feel like anyone was a reach.
Yeah. It helps when you have a lot of needs for both teams.
Yeah, it helps at this point in the draft when you're picking with shit teams because you have good draft picks and you're going to get the guys you want.
Yeah, and in the Giants' case, it's a wonder that it's no wonder that that Dayball and Joe Shane are on the hot seat. I mean, the Giants' roster is not bad.
Mhm.
It's really not, especially on defense. The starter, it's the depth that's the biggest issue on defense because the starters are ridiculous. Dexter Lawrence, Raheem Nunez Roaches, Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Kayvon Thibodeau, Paulson Adebo, who they signed in the offseason, Deontay Banks, the first rounder, Drew Phillips, great rookie season last year. They got Javon Holland in the offseason. Tyler Newbin was great as a rookie last year as well. Offensively, it's not the greatest, but the O line should be good. Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, Jermaine Illuminor. Again, I'm not sold on him, but or Van Roten, but we got some guys to help that. Hopefully, Cam Williams there. Tight end, love my boy Theo Johnson going into year 2 as a 4th rounder. Obviously, the quarterbacks are what they are. Tyrone Tracy going into year 2. They hit on most of their draft picks last year, which is wild. Malik Neighbors stud, obviously. And yeah, I mean, they have some solid players. It's just they got to add depth and figure out how to get them to play well. Patriots are kind of on the other side. They have a lot of needs, and they don't have a ton of star power. Drake May, obviously, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper at tight end, Ramondre Stevenson at running back. Got Morgan Moses. We'll see if Bradbury's still got some left in the tank there. The O-line needs a lot of help there. Defensively, Milton Williams, obviously the big free agent signing. Robert Spillane, they signed. Carlton Davis, Harold Landry. They got Christian Ellis at linebacker. Anthony Jennings, Caleb Chason, they signed. Keon White. Christian Barmore, I mentioned. And the secondary, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, Marcus Epps, they signed as well. So got some guys, but they don't have as many, I don't think, as the Giants. So, but yeah, obviously, like you said, top 5 picks here. Got a lot to work on. So, all right, next Friday, people, we'll be back. And Jimmy, I don't know, we might have to go earlier because of the draft. I believe the draft starts at 7:30 on Friday.
Are we gonna be wearing suits again?
7 starts at 7 on Friday.
Ooh.
So, I might have to get home from work and just like go to the pod at
I could make that work.
like about 6, and hopefully don't run over. We know we will. We know we will, but we will not have as much info, or I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't freaking know. Anyways, we'll have your round 1 recap. Maybe we'll have to just cut the pod short in order to go watch the draft. Mm-hmm. But round 1 recap next Friday. Also have your draft day 2 preview, a UFL game previews as well. Of course, we'll have all the news for you from around the league, college, and UFL. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram, and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast. Have a good Friday, everyone. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you, sir. And we will see y'all back on Monday.